So today we are going to discuss about the SQL for BI tools. Okay, this is provided by Rayapati Analytics, and I am your trainer. My name is Rajeshwar Rayapati. Basically, I am a data geek, right? And I'm working as a Tableau developer, and also I train on Tableau. That's a different part. So I have total of 9 years experience, of which 7+ years of experience is in Tableau and SQL. Actually speaking, Tableau and SQL are both my fortes. These are the strongest points when I come to my professional experience. Actually speaking, majority of my professional life is associated with the Tableau and SQL. Right from end of 2013, I've been working with Tableau. And post which almost 2 years later, I dwelled more into SQL and I learned SQL and PL SQL, and then I started using both of them. Now, as a Tableau developer, everyone needs this Tableau and SQL. Right? Now, when it comes to SQL, so let me give you a bit of a background on why I started the SQL. That too, why I started this free SQL training is because people like I have my channel, so actually majority of them, they know these tools. They know Tableau, they know Power BI, they know any like ClickSense, ClickView, anything and everything. But when it comes to SQL, there is a gap. There is a gap for everyone when it comes to SQL. So generally, in the market's standpoint, generally people think that okay, SQL is easy to learn. In one of my company, one of my manager told me, what is SQL? You can learn it in a week. But SQL is not only about select the star from table. There are much more into it. There's an ocean full of learning. To be frank, I can say my quest for Tableau is a bit satisfied, but the quest for my SQL is not, because SQL is an ocean and it has a lot to learn from it. Right, but that learning should start from somewhere, right? So that is how that is why I'm launching this SQL training, in which it is going to be an interactive session. Like whatever I want to deliver, I'll be delivering. Then we will be coming up with your doubts and all that stuff, and then we will dwell more into the more deeper parts of SQL as well. Like we'll be discussing about joins, subqueries, analytical SQL. But as I told you, Tableau SQL is, as I told you, it has a very big, huge depth. So we'll not be going into the total depths of it, but we'll only confining to certain amount of SQL, which I'll be telling you in that. And again, my name is Rajeshwar Rayapati, and let's go ahead. So before going into SQL, what is SQL? Right now, SQL is where you have textbook navigation and all these things, but for me, SQL is like mother tongue of databases. That is what I call SQL as. SQL is the mother tongue of databases, because the only way you can communicate with the database is using SQL. Now, there is another concept called NoSQL. I'm not talking about that, but yeah. So SQL is the only way you can communicate with your data. And currently, the total world is data, right? Wherever you look, you'll see data. If you have a website, you have data analytics. If you have a bank account, you have your bank statement, even that is data. If you maintain your savings, so like you maintain your income, expenditure, and saving, if you tabulate that, even that is data. Some people, they even note their regular BP, sugar, and the other levels. Even that is data. Based on that, also you can achieve some information about yours. So wherever you see it is data, and companies are never this mad about data. Every company has data. Every company, huge, enormous amount of data, right? So that is why SQL has become very much important, because You might be anything. You might be a Tableau developer, you might be a SQL developer, you might be a marketing manager, you might be a sales guy, or you might be some product manager or a project manager. Now, for you to represent your data, you to get the data, at least to get the data for you to represent or some numbers to be crunched, you need SQL. So that is why SQL is mandatory. I can say mandatory. SQL is mandatory for each and every one of us. And especially now you are seeing the world is total India, in India at least. The majority of the people are moving to become data analysts or data scientists. And one can never dream of becoming data analyst or a data scientist without learning SQL, right? So that is the reason we need to learn the SQL, right? So that is the reason we have started this concept of SQL for BI tools. Now, why is it important to learn SQL? These are all the reasons. Mother tongue of all the databases. And almost every company uses some kind of SQL. And some kind of SQL-based data they have. So if you want to go there and get the data, you need SQL, right? It is a highly demanded skill nowadays. Learning SQL. See, highly demanded skill is not directly, right? No one will ask you, okay, you know SQL? I'll take it. No, but this SQL is always associated. The SQL is always associated with any of your job. It can be data analyst, it can be data scientist, it can be a marketing manager, whatever it is. And it is used widely because whatever you have hundreds of databases, but all the databases use one common language to communicate with the database, data in the database. That is SQL. So if you want to store the data, if you want to update the data, if you want to delete the data, or if you want to retrieve the data, anyway, SQL is the very much important, right? So that is why learning SQL is going to be very, 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 very much. Whoever who needs to learn SQL, not only these are just the things that I need: data analysts, data scientists, data admins, and back-end developers, front-end developers, project managers. And this I entered in the last because I saw a kid is interested in learning this. So I was excited actually, because at that age, he is very much interested in learning about the data, right? So that is why I was very much interested. Okay, if they are interested in learning, then this next thing, next level thing, right? So now, what is this SQL for BI tools? Now, to be a successful data analyst, you need to learn SQL. But as I told you, SQL is going to be a very vast topic, right? So that is why we are going to confine our boundaries about what is, right, what topics of SQL we are going to cover in. Basically, the data types in Tableau. Now, this is, guys, let me give you a whole. This is the kickoff session. Here we'll be discussing about how and when we'll set training. We'll be discussing data types in Tableau, the various data types that are, sorry, this is SQL. By mistake, it came out as Tableau. So various data types that are present in Tableau, sorry, SQL, and we'll not be dwelling into all the data types that are present, because when you are talking, the title itself says it is for BI tools. So we will be talking about only those data types which are relevant for the BI tools. And in the select statement, there are various clauses, right? Just like from clause, select, from, where, group by, having, order by, all these clauses, we'll be discussing them in detail. And whatever the functions that are used in SQL, right? Those also we'll be discussing in here. And we'll be understanding this primary key and foreign key relationships. This is very much important, that one understands the relation, like one understands primary key and foreign key and its relationships. Because whenever whenever you're using joins, either in SQL or in your BI tools, right? Like in Tableau or Power BI, you need to understand these relations to understand the data. Now, when you join two tables based on certain columns, how is it going to, or how is it going to perform? Like, what are the granularities of these two tables? And when you join two tables from different granularities, what sort of output is expected? How do you understand all that? So all those things will be taught in. So we'll be discussing what is a primary key, what is a foreign key. Actually, this I named it as primary key and foreign key, but this is majorly called as a constraints part. But we'll not be going more into the constraints part, right? We are only interested in retrieving the data, which is select statement. So for that, to understand to which level we need to understand, we'll understand about those constraints. Majorly, the focus will be on primary key and foreign key. And also there will be various types of joins that we have, right? The inner join, left join, out, right join, self join, what do you say, cross join, which is otherwise called Cartesian product. All these things will be discussed. And okay, one more point is missing, but yeah, subqueries will be discussing. What are the different sets of levels of subqueries that we have? All these things we'll be discussing, and their types in it, and how to handle these subqueries. All these things we'll be discussing in detail in the training. Okay. Along with that, actually, it is missing here. There is one more concept called as analytical SQL. Analytical SQL is which will actually work on the output, the data, whatever the data is being retrieved, right? Analytical SQL will work on the data, and it will give you an output which works on the SQL output. In Tableau, if you can say, whatever the table calculations that we are looking at, right? All those table calculation functions come from the analytical SQL function. So that also we will be discussing in these three. So this is what we are going to cover. Okay. So what are the timings for this? Timings for this is every Sunday 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. IST. So in order to get that, thing you need to do is first go to, if you want to get the recordings of it, right? We are even providing the recordings of the sessions. Go to rayapatianalytics.com, right? And once you log into that, I'm using this. Once you log into that, go to my courses, right? In my courses, you should be seeing here. See, I don't have this access. SQL for BI tools, I don't have access here. So once you have registered, most probably you should get something like SQL for BI tools in here. So here you are not getting that access here. Then please do ping the number 912131433. Let me put it in the chat box. +919121314333 with the registered email in a ping. We should see. This is your SQL for BI tools course. Now, we are asking people only to, those who want the recordings, please do register. So here, if you see, if you go in here, you will see next time you need not even wait for the session. From here directly, you can join the class, right? Every Sunday, 2 p.m. when you come, you will have something like this live here. You can directly join the class from, so that you need not wait for the link. Sometimes if you miss out or something, you need not wait for that. Okay, so that is how you need to join, and this is the course that you need to have access to. As we have one Whereas we have one ongoing live class, right? So that is why it is showing here clearly, right? For big items. Okay. Now, coming to the next part, I'll get back. Okay. Yeah. So how, and now let me complete this and I'll get back to the remaining part. How do we expect to move forward from? Right? Okay. We need to discuss about life SQL also, right? Okay. Okay. Before even learning SQL, now the problem for majority of the people is, how do I start practicing SQL? Now I can even show you installing Oracle database of my MS Office, sorry, MySQL database or any other data, Postgre or anything. I can show you installing all that. That is all a bit of a problem because everyone has these limitations. Like system laptops might not support if you install one more database into that, or sometimes availability of that is also a problem. So there are issues like this. So that is why I'm not going to show you any installation of any database or anything. I'm going to show you one simple way, which is called live SQL. Now only, which is called live SQL. If you use this, you can use it in your browser. In your browser itself, you can practice all of SQL. Not only in your laptop, you can use this in your, mobiles as well. You can log into live SQL and you can type it using your mobile and you can even get the output. Yeah, there's a little discomfort when you're using your mobiles, but yeah, this will work in your mobile. So you can even practice on the go. Right? So how to get access to this live SQL? Now go to Google and search live. Right? Now this live SQL is provided by Oracle. Okay. Now I'm clicking on my live SQL. I think I just log in here. Might show me that logged in, but it's not. So it is asking for a sign. So first create an account here. This is provided by Oracle. So create an account in here and then sign into this. Right? Here I have already created my account and I have signed in, logged into here. So that is why I am able to see this. Right? So the moment I create, the account is already created. So I'm directly signing in into here. Okay. Yeah. Now I have logged into here. Right? Now there are 3 lines here. When you click on that, you will get various options. Right? Various options that are present. Now you can use any of these options. In these, direct SQL worksheet is where you'll write your code. Right? The SQL query, right? Wherever you need to write the SQL query, this is here. But here, if you write anything, it will not give you any output. The reason being, there is the reason being that table is not present. But here, if you want, you can use a dual table, which is present. We'll discuss what dual table is later. But if you use a dual table, it should come. It is shown. So it is only possible to use dual table, or I think sometimes, I don't know if this is here, but there is another called as dummy. I'm not sure. No, that. So you can use this in dual table. So this, if you don't have any table or a view that is created, it will give you an error. So that is the reason you'll go here to my scripts. So here, these are different scripts that I have. The same way, even you can have that script. Once you have that script, you can upload that and you can use it. Now, the tables that we are using in here are EMP, DEPT, and salary as of now. If there is any new tables requirement, we will provide a script for that. So the script for this, right? The script for this, now you need to upload the script. which will contain. Now, this is one of the script. Now you can see the script is nothing but all the commands that are required. So this is creating a department table, creating an EMP table, inserting data into my EMP table, 14 records, and then inserting data into DEPT table, and then again sal grade table as well. And there are certain other functions that I have done. So this is one of the scripts that is present. Now, how do you get this script? So for that, if you go into your courses, if you go into the SQL course, here, you see the SQL script for live SQL, you can download it, right? I am downloading that into my desktop. Yeah, already it's present. I'm just saving it, right? Once you have saved this, then you can come here, go to my scripts, upload script, come here, you name it. So here I'm just putting, I need to choose the right. See, there is something called SQL script here, right? I'm selecting the SQL script that I've downloaded from here, right? From here I have downloaded, right? That SQL script, and here I'm selecting this and I'm opening this. And I'm just putting a name to this. So let me name this. And here write a description. Right? Now, after that, you can run the script. Okay, remove session history. This is asking because we already ran the SQL, right? So we can remove that. It will take a bit of time to remove the previous session history. It will remove and it will again restart. Now it is started. So it is saying one error. That is because some error is present when it is running this query for salary. That anyways you can ignore this one. You can ignore that. You can directly click on this. What do you say? SQL worksheet. So the moment you click on this, Tableau, live SQL will show this SQL worksheet. Now in this, we have three tables: EMP, DEPT, and salary. So you can select the data, select. Right now you will get the. So that is how you can use your live SQL. The reason I'm asking you to use this live SQL is because for all of us when we are practicing, we need one common ground, right? One common ground to practice, and even one common ground to collaborate. If you have any issues, you can even share script with your friends who are working, who are present along with or with us, so that we can use this script to understand where the error is coming, right? So that it will be easy for us to communicate with each other, understand each other's problems. Not only with me, any of your friends who is attending this session along with, you can attend. You can use this live. You can share the script. Even after running that, you can share the script. So we'll see when we are going forward. We'll see. You can see that script and you can understand that, and you can even share it with your friends so that they can look at it and they can understand it. And if there is any issue or error, they can help you solve it. So that is why we'll be using this live SQL. The biggest reason for live SQL is the limitations. If you have a database, you need to install that. And I have installed Oracle somewhere around 10-15 times. Still, there are some times where I go wrong when I am installing my Oracle, right? So that is why I don't want to push this on you. So that is why I choose this live SQL option. So how to use it is present in here. Any issues that you have, we can even discuss in our regular sessions. So here I'll take a halt. I will take queries from you, whatever you have to ask. Okay, these three tables. Okay. Anyways, we'll be discussing in detail about these three tables when that time comes. Okay. So now we are coming. This is just the intro about, like, I just have wanted some you people to have something to think about. So what is data? Right. Now, in general, data is about collection of facts and dimensions. Right. Now, when you have a data, the data is mostly about. Now, there are two types of data: qualitative data and quantitative data. I don't want to go into that stuff, but qualitative data is a descriptive form of data. I have 5 apples. This sky color is blue. That is qualitative data. Quantitative data is you have your apples 6. Right? There's a tabulated, the data that is tabulated, which contain the dimension, which by dimension I mean anything that is unique or anything that is in a string format. Basically, again, it can be in the numerical format also, but let me simplify that for you before going into anything that is in the string format and anything that is dimension, anything that is in the numerical format is fact or a measure. Now, facts will always measure something, dimensions will always define something. By that I mean, if I state something called as Hyderabad is a dimension. Whereas when I say population of Hyderabad, the population of Hyderabad is a fact, is a measure. For that Hyderabad, whoever people are living in that is called population. So that is how you will have dimensions and facts. So let me open an Excel. So here I have, this is city and this is right. Now, if this city is Hyderabad and this is some, I'm just putting 25,000. It's not 25,000. It's way more than that. So Hyderabad, the population is 20, and it is Bangalore. The population is some 30,000. Now, this is my dimension because this is defining my data. Whatever the fields that define your data, actually coming into the BI tools part or the Tableau part, the fields that define the granularity of the data, right? Because I might even have one more Hyderabad here and somewhere around 35,000, right? Now, in my data, there are 3 rows, but the granularity of my data is only 2, right? So the fields that define your data, if I want to see how many unique values here, how do I get that? I get that by coming on to my dimensional part. This is where I am getting the definition to my data. And for the same data, where am I getting the measuring part? The measuring part of the data is coming in. So that is how they do differ. So that at any given point of time, whatever the data that you will be having, you will be having a tabulated data, right? A tabulated data, let me open that. So here I am coming. If you see, this is an award table. In this table, I have my title. This is my award name, and this is year. In this table, I only have my dimensions. These are only defining my data. There is a title called Postal A. There is an award called Agatha Award, and this is the year one, right? So this is containing only my dimensions. But this is another table which is containing my, okay, this is another table which is containing my date, ISBN, discount. This is my measure, the item ID and order ID. This is another table which I got, but this is my measuring. So this is what is measuring my data. I think this is a wrong example to show, but yeah. So that is how your data is and how your data is defined. And it is always collected in a tabular form. And each of these columns have a separate data types. Every column has a, in that table, every column has a meaning and has a data. By that I mean, if you see here, in this column has a meaning. What is it giving you? It is giving you the sale date of the books. So this is giving you the book. ISBN number will give you every book has an ISBN number, right? So it is giving you ISBN number and it is giving you the date on which that is sold, right? Now this is giving you item ID and order ID and all that stuff. So this is what your data is. Every column, right? Every column has a meaning and it has a data. So this column, if I go and see, every row will have the same data type. Here it is date. Every row will have a data type called date, right? And here, every row will have a data type called as a, yeah, I can call this as a alphanumeric. So this column will always contain my alphanumeric, right? Now this column, which is called as discount, will always have numbers. The data type is numeric data. So every column in a table has its own data type. Now coming to the table that is present with us in here. Now if you see, this table, the total, this table as a total has the information about the employees. Right? This table is talking about employees. Now employee number is talking about whenever someone joins your company, right? He is given a unique ID to identify himself. Because anywhere down the line, now he might join the organization, he might leave, and even 5 years down the line, if someone comes and gives the company that employee number, then they will be able to trace that. So that is how this employee number is given. A unique employee number is given to every employee that is joined, right? And every employee has a name, and he will be working in that company for a certain job, right? When I'm in my company, I'm called as lead consultant. In your company, you'll have a certain job role. Because why do you need a job role? Because every job role has its own description, right? Every job role has a description because it comes with the roles, whatever you need to work. And every person will have a manager, right, to report to. So that is okay. And which date he is hired, what is his salary, if he is getting any commission, what is he getting. In generally, salesperson will be getting commission, right? And he is working in which department. So here, if you see, this is a table which is talking about employees, and these are the columns that are present in the table. And every column has a, this is the employee number. It will only contain employee numbers of that company. If anything else is present, that is an error. That is a mistake. But and in order to not let those mistakes come into picture, we have some called as constraints. We'll discuss when we are discussing. And this column is called employee name. It will contain only names of the employees. Only the names of the employees. So here, if you see hire date, it will only contain the dates on which the employee has joined. So if you have this table in hand, you can clearly tell about that employee, right? His employee ID is this, his name is this, he's working as a president, he has no manager, he's joined on this date, his salary is this, he's having no commission, and he's belonging to department. So generally, whenever you are taking your data, right, you will exhaust the possibilities that you can take when you are creating the table. So whatever the possible data that you can take when you are using that data, you will first divide that as a column. That, like, behind that there is something called as data modeling. So data modeling is a different where we'll define what are our tables and what are the columns in those tables. Of that, which will be defining as a primary key, which will be defining as a foreign key. All these stuffs are there. Now that comes into data modeling. That's a different thing. But here, when we are talking about this, now, sorry. No, this is totally talking about data. And even in this, there is one more concept called metadata, which we'll even discuss further. I'm just introducing you the concept so that it will not look foreign when we actually start the training. Metadata is about the data about the data. Now, a database might contain hundreds and thousands of tables. Okay? So now we use metadata to understand all the columns that are present in the table are the data about these columns, right? The data about data is called metadata. So the information about your tables and the columns in that tables, that is called metadata. Again, we'll come back to that, right? And what do we do in the data in general? What do we do with the data when it is with this data? And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking only about confining to the part of SQL, right? So when I'm talking about data, when it is regarding databases and the SQLs, so I will try to insert, update, and delete the data into my database. I have a certain data. I have my employees data. I'll be inserting it into a database. I'll be updating that database, and I'll be deleting whenever required. I'll be deleting the data in that data. What will I be using in that? We'll be using the insert, update, and delete statements that are provided by SQL. I'm only talking about in borders. The borders for this is when I'm using my SQL. And whenever you want to retrieve the data, this is what we are going to focus. We are not going to focus on this. This is what we are going to focus. Retrieve the data using select. Right? So that is your data. And that you like, when it comes to data, nothing is not a data. Everything that you have is a data. You talk about your monthly expenses, income, expenditure, and saving. You talk about blood pressure. You talk about the number of kilometers that you walk. You talk about your sugar levels. You talk about the stock exchange. You talk about the weather. Anything and everything that you can tabulate is your data. Again, confining to the parts of SQL. Okay. So what is a database and all this stuff, we'll again come back. But database, what is a database? Just like database is something which holds your data in the form of tables. Again, database is something which holds your data in the form of tables, which is organized as rows and columns. Okay. So a database holds your data in the tabular format, which is organized as tables and columns, rows and columns, with columns having a unique meaning and a definition in the data type. And the row will be talking, or it is called as a record. The row will be talking about a certain person or a certain article or a certain thing, whatever you want to discuss. Right? If I want to talk about an employee, if I talk about this whole row, I get a clear picture about any employee. If I want to understand about King, if I look at this row, it will give me a clear picture about that person. Right? So that is how we get. So that is your database. There's a definition here. You can go through the definition if you want, but that is in total, that is what our database. Now in this, there are many types of databases that we'll discuss, but generally I have a spreadsheet here, right? I have a spreadsheet here. So what is the difference between, you might see this is also tabulated. This is a tabulated data, and this is my data from my data. So what is the difference between these two? Right? So generally, whenever you are using a database or a spreadsheet, the basic difference is spreadsheets or all these spreadsheets, these are meant for single person use or a group of people's use. And the security, data security is the biggest problem, and data sharing and data manipulation is a bit easy, but data security and data sharing is going to be a very big problem when it comes to spreadsheets. So that is why we use something called as databases to share this. So this is just a basic intro. We will be having a detailed discussions on this going forward, right? So now I want to conclude this session by talking how we move forward from here, right? So first thing is, whatever we discuss, yeah, you can practice on Light SQL, or you can practice in your own databases, whatever you want. But end of the day, we will be discussing in here. So if you have any issue, if you have any error or any other problem, you can bring it here. We can discuss about that. But the motto of using Light SQL is to have to be able to collaborate with each other, right? And but from 2 p.m. to 2:45 p.m., we will be having a session, right? So our discussion about the topics, and then we'll discuss for 10 minutes, and then we will be taking a 15 minutes break, right? A 10 to 15 minutes break, depending on your and my requirements, right? And again from 3:10 to 3:50, we'll be again having the doubt session, and then the next 10 minutes we'll be having the doubts, whatever we have, we can discuss. And to get access to the recordings, as I told you here, you need to register. And I think someone put chat in that. So SQL request. Yeah, because we need to. Okay, that is Srikanth, right? Yeah. So Srikanth, that is correct. So because we are asking you to ping here, because we need to know your email ID with which you have registered, right? And the people you need to register only if you want the recordings of the sessions. Okay, once that recordings are done, like once you have the like whatever the session is done, right, that within somewhere around 6 hours you'll be having the recording of the session in here. Okay, so that is how we are going to move forward down the line, right? From the next week, that is how we are going to take. So yeah, anyone has any doubts, we can discuss. No, fact is not similar to matrix. Matrix again is a table, right? In a way. Matrix is a table. But yeah, it has its own properties, different set of properties. Okay, everyone. Everyone, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, Shrikant, you there? You have anything to share? Am I audible, guys?
Sure, Ayush. Yes, Ayush.
Okay, great. Yeah. So from the next week, we'll be starting these SQL discussions. It will be from 2 to 4 p.m. and the timings, like the discussion will be happening this way, right? So initially we'll be discussing for 45 minutes and then 10 minutes doubt session, and then we'll be taking a break. And again, after the break, we'll again discuss and we'll be taking the doubt session. So that is how. Pardon, yeah.
Yeah, like as this is a free session, they can also send this our website and this phone number if anyone is interested to take this session.
Yeah, you can share it. You can share this link and everything to anyone and everyone who is interested in learning SQL. So anyways, we'll whoever is attending here, whoever is registering and access to this, it will be for the lifetime, whatever the SQL sessions that we are taking, right? So if you have any friends or anyone who is looking for SQL training, we can discuss in the sessions about those. And you can share these links, like ask them to register in rayapatianalytics.com and send them the, what do you say, mail ID to 912131433. We'll be providing access to. Okay.
I have a doubt. On what days we will be having classes?
Sunday, every Sunday, 2 to 4.
Okay, only to Sunday. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And how long is this going to be? Is it like a 1 month or 2 months?
I haven't yet decided. Like, we didn't put a what do you say, end mark on. The reason being, this is our first SQL training. Let's see, whoever know me as a trainer, I tend to be as detailed as possible, right? So these discussions, the motto of these discussions is to discuss. I'm not even saying I'm teaching it. It's about discussing on SQL. So whatever I have to deliver, whatever you have to ask, and you have to give me as an add-on, all that things taken. I am planning it to be a 2 months 2 months old, 2 months discussions on SQL. So it will be on 8 Sundays. It might extend, depending on what input you people have to give. Right?
Yeah, got that.
Yeah. Okay. So anyone who wants to get access, please do register in this website and send your register email ID to Srikanth +91129121314333. Right? And then you will get the access to those. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you for being on a Sunday here. So this is how we set the stage for our discussions, right? We'll be going forward with whatever we have discussed today. Any doubts, you can even ping us, right? We'll get back to you. Whatever doubts you have, we'll try to resolve. Yeah, thank you, Saurav.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rakesh. Yeah, thank you, Prasanna. Thank you, Sam.
Rajeshwar, can I ask a Tableau question?
Yeah, we completed the doubt session. Yeah?
No, that's fine. But basically, on a live project, I have a situation.
Let me stop.